Hello, YouTube universe. Here we are with our second part of our how to prepare our smoked pork and kielbasa.
It's actually the first part. We did do a separate video on the smoker and giving you tips on how to prep the smoker, how to turn it on, how to set it up. So that's going to be a separate video you're going to want to check out. Please like, subscribe, and comment on our videos because it really helps us out, and we're just trying to get established here. And we think we have some really useful stuff here. I mean, we've got quick, efficient, cheap ways to make good food to eat. Today's food we're doing is actually a pork shoulder. Some people call it Boston butt, whatever you want to call it, but it's the same thing. It's a big slice, big thing of pork that we're going to be smoking so we can make pulled pork and some carved pork. So we've actually already got the smoker going. So again, please go back and check out the video where we've uploaded about setting up the smoker and turning it on and everything. But right now, what we're going to show you is this is a big old, about 5.5 pound piece of pork shoulder. What we're going to do is we're going to give you some tips on not only how to do this deliciously, but also do it quicker. You know, normally if you go to a recipe, it says 7 to 8 hours to smoke about a 5 pound pork shoulder. We're going to show you a way to cut that more than half. We're going to get this done in about 3 hours. We're going to, in 3 hours, have meat ready to pull and carve and ready to eat, because we are, again, all about quick and delish. So here's what we're doing. I had this issue when I first started smoking meat a few years ago. I had friends, I would go to their house and they would take all day just to smoke some meat. I mean, a 10-pound piece of meat, they would spend 12, 14 hours. And I was thinking to myself, I do not have time for that. I am too lazy to spend that long just making a piece of meat to eat. I was like, there's gotta be a quicker, better way. So I remember I went on discussion boards. So I should tell you how long ago this was. I went on discussion boards and I posted my question, is there a quicker way to smoke a big piece of meat? And I got all these crazy scientifical solutions, make this adjustment, use this kind of wood and all this. And I said, that just doesn't sound right. And one day, some guy, he was a novice because they show you how many times they posted. This dude had only posted maybe 2-3 times on the site. And he came with this genius solution that I'd never thought of. He said, why don't you just cut the big piece of meat into smaller pieces? And I thought, that's genius. Light went off in my head. I said, that is pure genius, because this is mathematical. It's about 8 hours at 200 to 225 degrees to smoke the meat. So what we do is we take this big old piece, and as you can see, can you hold this? Mm-hmm. Just get it on the meat here. And what you do, you cut it. I'm cutting this 5+ pound of meat in half. This is mathematics. We now have 2.5 pound pieces of meat. That means each meat I'm going to put separately in a different shelf on the smoker. And this is going to cut the time in half. Isn't that genius? Instead of 8 hours, now you're looking at 4 hours. But we're going to make it even faster, because we are all about quick and delish. So we're going to do it. We're going to make it even faster for you. 225 degrees is what it says for the smoker. From my experience, you can get that up to almost 300 degrees on the smoker. It's not going to affect the flavor. I've done this every which way. So I'm going to get it 275 to 300 on my smoker. It's a propane smoker, so it's a little bit faster to begin with. That's going to cut at least an hour off the time. So now we've got it down from 4.5 hours to about 3.5 hours or so. But then I'm going to make it even faster. We're going to do a hybrid method. Now, there's all kinds of methods out there for mixing using the oven and the smoker. You don't need that meat on the smoker the entire time. I'm actually a proponent, if you put it too long on the smoker overtakes the meat and you're tasting smoke instead of meat. I actually want to taste the meat that I paid, $10, $12 for. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it just for 2 hours in the smoker and then finish it off here in a toaster oven. That's it. And what that's going to do is that's going to cut at least another 45 minutes to an hour off of this. So we're going to get this done in under 3 hours, probably 2 hours and 45 minutes. Actually, maybe even a little bit less than that, because the carved pork doesn't need to have as high of an internal temperature. And you might think, well, he's going to have some tough meat if he does this. If you tune in for part 2 of the video, I guarantee you, you're going to see the most tenderest meat you've ever seen in your life. I don't even know if tenderest is a word, but it's that tender that it's a new word. It's going to be super tender. And actually for the carved pork, you only need to get that internal temperature about 180 degrees. The secret to getting the softest possible pulled pork is you got to get that internal temperature to 200 to 210 degrees. Optimally for me, I like 205, but anywhere between 200 and 210 is perfect. And you're going to see, if you tune into that part 2 of the video, I'm not going to have to be doing this, ripping at the meat, or getting the little claws out to claw the meat. I'm literally going to take one small fork, and I'm just going to gently pull the meat apart. So this is what we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do, and this is where we get to another
time hack,
is these guys, you know, they tell you, you got to rub, you know, you got to put dry rub on the meat. I see guys, they're sitting there, and let me show you, they're patting the meat, they're stroking the meat, they're petting the meat, they're doing all this stuff. I mean, they're like, you know, it's like they're going to marry the meat or something. We don't do that here. We are all about quickness and efficiency. So what we're going to do, and I don't know why anybody didn't think of this, we're going to do shake and bake style. We have already, as you can see over here, I make my own dry rub. I like to do my own because honestly, the ones that, if I just use what's in the store and just use that, it always seems too salty, too much sodium, and I'm real sensitive to that. I'm making my own dry rub. Now, I am going to take some of the store dry rub, but just a bit. I'm just going to take a bit just so it has that dry rub flavor to it. But I don't want too much because I just feel, again, it overwhelms the meat. I want to taste the meat. So what we do is we've got some garlic, pepper, adobo, which is usually Goya or other brands. You can find this in the international section of your food store. And some Goya Sazon. This is all the flavor I want. This is going to give me flavor, but at the same time, it's not going to overwhelm the meat, which is my big concern when I'm working with smoking meat or grilling meat. I don't want to not taste the meat. Again, I encourage people, if you want to experiment, go out there and experiment. Try other flavors, try other spices. You know what spices you like. Right. Dry rubs are more forgiving than people think. The biggest thing is just don't overwhelm the meat, you know? Right. So just use a little common sense. Don't put things in there too much of anything, you know, just a little bit. As you can see, we just put enough to basically cover the bottom of the bag. That's it. Don't get all hung up on flavors and on quantities and teaspoon this, tablespoon that. Just cover the bottom of the bag and just try to put an equal amount of everything so you don't overwhelm one particular spice. We've already, as you can see, we use pans. It's just easier when you're doing the method of taking the meat and you know, transferring it from the smoker to the oven. So we use pans. I can tell you right now, it doesn't take away from the smoke flavor. I've done it every which way. So what we did was we greased the pans with some olive oil cooking spray. Any brand will do. And then we're going to take one of these meats, and we're just going to put it in this bag. We're going to take it vertical. See that nice piece of meat? See all the nice marbling? We're going to throw it right in here. We're going to zip it up. And then the missus is going to shake and bake it.
I will shake and bake, shake, shake, shake.
Look at that. Now watch how long this took. You can see there's a counter on the video. Check it out. We're not using more than 30 seconds for this. Look at what we just did. Look at that.
All done.
And now the missus is going to take it out and put it on this pan, this grease pan. And you're going to see how good this looks. Just get that out of there. I mean, you got to finagle it a little bit. There you go. Look at this. Look at that. That's an even coat. Look at that meat. Everywhere you see dry rub. Everywhere. Perfectly even. No missing spots. No nothing. And that took about a tenth of the time what it took you. You'd have been sitting there for 10, 15 minutes trying to rub meat, spice on every side of this meat. And that is perfect. You don't see a side there that's uncovered. It is a perfect even coat.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mrs. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to walk this down. We're going to take this right now and walk it into the smoker, throw it in. Again, please look at the previous video we did about our previous video about the prepping and setting up and turning on the smoker. But the missus is going to walk this down, and she's going to put it in the smoker that we've already set up, that's already going. As you can see, let's hold on a second, Mrs.
Yep.
Galloway. You can see we've already got that temperature perfect. Look at that. That's 250. Look, we already got some smoke coming out. Now I'm going to open this and watch all this nice even coat of smoke we got coming out of the smoker. Check it out. We already got nice smoke coming out of there. Perfect. And the missus is going to put it right on the bottom. And then we're going to do the same thing off camera to the other piece of meat. And then we're going to get this bad boy smoking for about an hour and a half or so, give or take a few minutes. Can you close that, missus? Yep. And then we're going to be back with part 2 of this video. And in part 2, we're going to show you it already in the oven. And I'll give you the numbers on the oven as far as how long you want to put it in and what temperature. And then you're going to see, like I told you, how delicious and how soft this meat is, how tender it is, and how all I have to do is take a very small fork and lightly push it across the meat, and it's going to be perfectly pulled pork. And it's going to all be in about 3 hours or less. So we'll be back. Please like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. We really need your feedback, because we want, if you got questions or suggestions or just anything in general you want to say, we'll be more than willing on our future videos to read that out and, you know, let people know what kind of feedback we're getting. So again, like, subscribe, and comment. This is the Mr.
And the Mrs. for Quick and Delish.
And Delish. Thank you.